Not right now, no.
What about now?
Yes.
It's coming through.
It's coming
Yeah.
through.
Okay, awesome. So did you guys get your machine set up?
Yep. Yeah, it's plugged in and everything. It has a blue light on it.
Okay. So then on Cura, did you get Cura picked where you chose other and then chose Mendel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So back on Cura, click machine and then go to machine settings. And you want to make sure that your settings are exactly like this.
Okay.
So you want to make sure the width, depth, and height is 125, 150, and 100.
Okay, you got that, Chris?
Yeah. 125, 150, 150,
And 100.
And then uncheck heated bed right there.
Okay. Uncheck the heated bed.
That's why I'm still on the numbers.
Okay.
125. Wait, it's 125, 150, 100. 150, 100. Shit, tab. Yeah, unchecked it. Okay.
All right, they have that.
All right, sweet. And then click OK. And then now we're going to make sure that these are set over here. So do you guys have different logins when you log in to computers?
They do.
Okay. So you'll have to do this step every time. The first time you log in, you'll have to set up Cura to work on your account because we won't remember the settings for Cura on different accounts. So you have to remember this. You can go back and watch this video again and you can set that up.
I have a question. They logged on as me, like Sandra Taylor. So if they do that, I think they'll be fine. If they log on and then it'll already be set. Is that correct?
Yeah, they can log in as you. Totally.
All right.
There we go.
All right. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So the layer height, that's how thick and tall each one of the layers are going to be. So like as it's stacking the layers layer by layer by layer, that layer height, that will be that ongoing layer that each layer of the 3D printer is going to go with. So that's how it's going to create all the different types of models. And for some reason, my other little screen disappeared here. I can't pop it back, I guess, which is strange. But so you can't really see my side camera right now. But it's going to stack up layer by layer by layer to create your 3D model. And the layer height 0.2 is, if you scroll over to tell you exactly what they do, that is a good place to start. 0.1 is high quality, and then 0.3 is low quality. But 0.2 is a good place to start. And then the shell thickness, that has to be a multiple of your nozzle size. And our nozzle size is going to be 0.4, so the shell thickness will make 0.8 to do two different shells.
Okay, 0.8.
And that'll make strong models. And then the fill will make that 0.8 too.
Fill is 0.8. Which one? No, fill. Yeah, fill.
Yeah. And then the fill density is things that are filled up inside. And that's going to be like, if you wanted something to be hollow, that would be 0. Or if you wanted it to be solid, obviously that'd be 100. And usually 5 to 20% is good for that. The print speed, you want 50. And then the printing temperature, you want that to be 220. And that's what temperature the filament is going to melt at.
So just to get this straight, the nozzle size is 0.8 millimeters.
No, the nozzle size is going to be 0.4, which we're about to change.
Yeah.
And the shell thickness has to be a multiple of the nozzle size, so that's why it's 2. Hey, you got a camera. That's awesome.
Did the video come on?
And then now, what we'll do is you also change the diameter right here to be 1.75. Because you want the diameter to be 1.75 of the filament.
That's what
That's the thickness of the filament. And then support type, if you click support, make that say everywhere.
All right.
And then that will automatically generate supports when you need it. And then that, as long as yours looks just like mine, Cura set up and you're ready to go. And there's also a screenshot of these settings that's on the SD card too, so you can go and find those.
All right.
So now this is that second step that we're working on. So this is Cura, where you're going to slice the model. So once you make a model, you'll take that model in here. And have you guys like exported a model before, like for 3D printing?
No.
No.
No?
When Cura was installed on here, it showed up a little yellow robot.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and show you guys something really easy. So there's something called Tinkercad. And tinkercad.com is a really easy place where you can go and create models. So I'll go to Tinkercad. And then you guys can go and you can make an account later and sign in. And Tinkercad's an awesome place to start just to figure out the basics of CAD design.
All right.
So on Tinkercad, just like anything with like with Onshape, or by making different models through Autodesk, or by making something on like SketchUp, you'll just click Create New Design right here. And then once you click Create New Design, it loads. It might take it a second. You'll see your work area. So you can drag shapes over here and manipulate them in your work area. So for instance, I can take a box over here and I can drop it, and then I can change the sizes by clicking on these white and black squares right here. I can stretch out the sizes of them and move them around. So I can make that a lot larger, a lot smaller. I can click and move it around. I can even click on the color. I can change the color if I want. And this little like TP right here, this kind of like tree. If I scroll this way, you can kind of see that tree. You can lift stuff up and down right here. You can click and hold on this and you can change your perspective and you can move around and you can do quite a bit of things by making some 3D designs. So you can even change it to be different heights, and you see it goes by millimeter here, so you can measure it using the digital caliper to be an exact height. So then once I have this, I can go ahead and put basic shapes, and we'll go ahead and go to extras because there's some stuff over here, extras, and actually let's go to symbols instead because I'm looking for the star. Here we go. So I can take this star and I can click out here, but I can't see it yet because I need to stretch it so I can actually pull it up through everything. So if I click it and make it a lot taller, I can also make things a whole. So this will be negative space. So now if I select this whole thing and then click group, now it makes it negative space. So you can create all kinds of different models or different shapes or keychains or whatever you'd like to make. And it's just like a basic of learning how to use it. And then you can move up and be able to create spacers and gears and all kinds of advanced things by grouping different objects together. And then once you have your model, you can double click over here to change it. So we'll name it right there and then hit enter. And then we'll go to export. So we're going to export right here where it says download for 3D printing. And this will be in any program, you'll have to export the file as a .stl or .obj. And then you'll click .stl and then it's going to download right here. And this is what you're going to put in Cura. And to put that in Cura, you'll just click load and then go to where that is. So in my downloads, for instance, and then click star and then load it. And then here is my model. So the yellow means that it's going to be able to print, and you see how long it's going to be able to print right here. So it says it's going to take 3 hours and 24 minutes. But if you click on it, you can also change the sizes of it. So you can rotate objects side to side right here if I want to, and this would be the print orientation. But if it goes to be gray, that means that it's too large and it's not going to be able to print. So I might have to scale it down. So I can either type in exact values and scale it down by millimeters, or I can scale it down using this. So 1 is 100%, so 0.5 is going to be half the size, and now it's 38 minutes. You can also click on it and click scale and drag these little boxes right here and then drag it and shrink it down even more. So I can shrink it down even more. Now it's going to take 12 minutes. That sounds good. So now if I have something that's 12 minutes, I'll take my SD card and just like that pink adapter and then plug that into your computer. And then when that's plugged into your computer, it'll pop up where it says SD right here. And you can save something to it. Otherwise, it says Save Toolpath. You can save it wherever you want. You can put it like in the Documents folder or wherever you want to put it. But if it says SD right here, when you click that, that saves the G code. And G code is the computer programming language that the printer reads. So when you click there, it saves it automatically as G code, and it pops up with this little thing that says it saved it right here. And then you can click Eject to eject it. And then once it's ejected, then you'll go ahead and put that on the printer. So then when it's ejected, you'll take that SD card, and then that goes in the front of the printer. And then that's where that final step is. You guys remember what that is? Print. Yep, totally. So that's how you go through the whole process of how to actually quickly make a file, and then download the file, put it in Cura, and then convert it in Cura, and then put that on. So now let's go ahead and get the printer all set up and load the filament and kind of go over some other troubleshooting things. So we talked about there are 4 things, main troubleshooting things. The first one is to make sure that everything's plugged in. So you can kind of inspect it, and I think you guys did that a little bit before the video went out. The second one is Cura settings, which we just went over to make sure that all those are set. Because sometimes if Cura isn't quite set up right, then something might be weird with it. It might not work. But we got that set now too. And then the other 2 are making sure that the filament isn't clogged And by doing that, we'll load it right now, and we'll kind of go over that step. And then the last thing that we'll do is we'll make sure that the build plate is level. And that's that last fourth thing that we'll do. So go ahead and get your printer. And then you guys have this together?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So you can put your filament, kind of wrap it around here, or when your filament rolls come, which they should be on their way, they should be there pretty soon. You can set it like that. And then when you're not using it, you want to make sure that you always put it through these little holes on the side. You put it through the holes on the side to make sure that it doesn't come unwound. And then you can pull it back through those, and you're ready to roll into the printer. And before you put the filament in, you'll want to clip the little plastic like zip tie off of the filament that you guys have, and then clip the end of it like this. So there'll be kind of a point. And then that's what you want to fit into the printer itself.
Okay.
And then right here, you can see that there's a little hole right there. And then that hole, when you squeeze this, whoop, it'll go through this hole, and then when you squeeze it, it will keep going through. When you squeeze that right there and go all the way through this, all the way through to the very end, all the way down to there. So you keep pushing it through. All the way down to the end. And then when you push it all the way to the end, then it's all the way loaded. And then you always want to make sure that the filament feeds in straight like this too, so you have it like lined up with it so it feeds through. So, because if it's over here, if it's like pulling around the side or something like that, that can cause a lot of tension. And it can cause things to jam up. So let me know when you get that all the way fed through.
All right. Hard time going through.
You might have to cut it at a point. So use these to kind of cut it to get it at a point.
Yeah.
It'll be a little tricky to figure out.
How much is it supposed to be fed through?
Supposed to fit through all the way.
Okay. Does it have a stopping point? Like, does it?
Yeah, just keep pushing it until it won't go in anymore. It'll go in pretty far because it's got to go all the way through this tube, all the way through to there and stop.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we're good. We got it.
Got it? Okay, awesome. So now we're going to go ahead and make sure that the SD card is in. So did you guys put the SD card in the front? Okay, awesome. So we're going to heat it up. And then this heating up step, this is how you can also make sure that if something gets clogged, you can work with it. So we're going to heat it up and first load the filament to push it through. So to do that, plug it in and then tap this button right here. And then spin to where it says prepare and then preheat PLA.
Okay. All right.
And then when you tap preheat PLA, it's going to heat up. You'll see the temperatures going up right here. So it's going to have 190 on the top, and then on the bottom is the temperature it's actually at. And that's in Celsius, so it's going to get close to 500 degrees. And the only part of this that gets hot is the nozzle that's inside here. That's on there. And if you can see it, you can twist this right here and lift it up a little bit. If yours isn't it's pushed all the way down to the bed. And you can see the nozzle right there. Because you want to have a little bit of a space, maybe about an inch between the nozzle and the build plate. So you can see when you push the filament through. So if you were going to unload the filament, you'd unload the filament when it gets to 100. And you always want to unload it as it's heating up and it says 100 degrees on the bottom. That's when you unload it. And you'll unload it by just squeezing this and then pulling it out. But it has to be at least 100 degrees because it's melted into the end. And if it's not heated up, then it won't be able to pull out because it's melted into that end part. And you want to pull it out at 100 because that's called a soft pull, and that will help prevent clogs. So if you always change the filament when it's at 100 degrees and then pull it out right when it gets to 100, when it's cooled off and then when it's rising up and it gets to 100, then pull it out. That'll help prevent a lot of clogs.
All right. Okay.
And then when you load the filament, you'll want it to go all the way up to the maximum temperature. So what temperature is that now?
It's at 163 out of 190.
Okay, awesome. So when it gets up to 190, what we're going to do is you're just going to squeeze this and then push this again to push some more of the filament through. And then you'll see some of it coming out of the end right here, out of the nozzle.
Yeah.
And then when you see some coming out of the nozzle, that's the way that you'll know that it's pushing out the old filament and stuff like that. And then if it's still clogged or something like that after you're pushing the filament through and you've already tried to pull the filament out, then when it's heated and there's no filament loaded, you can use this little nozzle cleaner and you can kind of floss out the nozzle itself.
Okay.
So then when it gets heated all the way up, just push some more filament through, and then when you see some coming out of the end, right there, then let me know and we can move on to the next step.
We're at 187. 188.
It's at 187. You pick it out.
No, 190. You got to push it through.
190 pushes through.
Yeah, see if it comes.
I think it's okay.
Alicia Mullins, come to the counselor's office, please.
Okay, we're at 190. So
Sweet. Yeah, then push some through.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. So then now once you push some filament through, then we're ready to print. So to print, you'll tap this button and then spin down to the bottom where it either says change SD card or no SD card or initialize SD card and tap that. And that refreshes it. And then spin up to where it says print from SD if the SD card's in there and tap that. And then that is where you'd select your model. So you could pick your spacer or you could pick your gear or your cell or whatever you were printing. But in this case, we're going to click test prints.
All right.
And then you can print whatever you want inside of test prints.
They got squirrel, totodile,
Squirtle,
rocket.
squirtle.
Something is.
Yes.
All right.
Would you pick Squirtle?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, awesome.
Totodiles.
Yeah.
So if you want to stop a print, what we're going to do now is we're going to stop it to go, like if something happens or something goes wrong, and then we'll restart it here in a second. But I just want to show you guys how to do that. So to do that, tap this button, and then spin it to where it says stop print, and then hit stop and tap it.
All right.
So that clears the print, and that deletes everything that was on there. So the last thing that we're going to do right before we print Squirtle is we're going to test the build plate and make sure the build plate's level. So to do that, we'll tap the button,
All right.
and then go to prepare. And then normally you'd want to hit preheat, PLA, to heat it up. But since we've already done that, it's already heated up. We don't have to worry about that step. So just go to auto home and tap the button.
All right.
And then that's going to move the X, Y, and Z to 0. And then when it stops moving, then tap the button again and go back to prepare. And then where it says disable steppers, tap that button to disable the steppers.
When I click auto home, it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything?
No, it doesn't move even though everything's plugged in.
Is it because, it's probably because it already moved. Did it move right when you clicked on the Squirtle?
No, it's same position, but probably.
It's at 0, 0 already, I guess.
Yeah, I think it might already be at 0. So if it didn't move, then that's okay. So because auto home will just move everything to 0, and it'll be flat on there.
This is what.
Yeah, that sounds good. That looks good. Yeah, and then go ahead and tap the button then and say disable steppers, and then that will let you move this back and forth.
All right. Disable steppers.
Yep, disable steppers. Is you're going to take a piece of paper, and I'm just going to use this, like a small piece of paper, but you can use like any sort of scrap paper if you guys want to get a piece of scrap paper. Because you're going to put this between the nozzle and the build plate and then move it, and you want to feel the tension on the piece of paper, but not so much that it buckles. And you want to feel that underneath each one of the little wing nuts on the bottom of the printer itself. So you can see little nuts underneath here. That's what you adjust to adjust the build plate. So you'll put the piece of paper between the nozzle and between those wing nuts, like this. And you might have to press down a little bit to get it to go through, which is okay. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to move the Z axis. You only want to move the X and the Y, which is this one right here and then the blue plate. You never want to turn this knob right here when we're leveling it, because that's the up and down, and that's what we're testing. So you put it between there and then try to move it. And if it doesn't move, then you can adjust these down here on the bottom. You can move these back and forth. So if you tighten this, then it makes it a little easier to move this up here on top. And then if you loosen this, it pushes it up and makes it closer. So you want to make sure that as you're tightening and loosening these, you can move your paper between the nozzle and that.
It just manually moved itself.
All right, I think it's good. Stop. It stopped.
If it's doing something you don't want it to do, unplug it.
All right,
Plug it back in.
everything was done. It moved it to 0, 0 apparently.
Okay.
Like it's at the very edge now.
Yeah, that's okay. So just hit disable steppers, and then you'll be able to move it around.
Okay.
And then now you can move this around right here. So you can move this blue plate and this, and you can adjust it to be above this little bolt right here. And then you can just put the paper into there, and you can kind of move it around. You can kind of feel how it's supposed to be.
Move the plate back though. It's not moving. You can't move the plate. It's jammed. Like
No, it moved itself.
Yeah, it moved itself again.
Let me try. Let's see if that does.
Because when you hit auto home, it zeroes itself at X, Y, and Z.
All right, it zeroed itself.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
It's stuck at the same spot.
It's still stuck at its normal position.
Okay.
It's okay.
There we go.
And then now tap it and then hit disable steppers. Yeah, and then you can use that. But be careful because the nozzle is still hot. So this part isn't hot, but the nozzle is. So only move this top part right here. Yeah.
Is it safe for the nozzle to touch the paper?
Yes, that's safe. Just don't let it touch your finger. And you might have to push down on the blue plate a little bit, like by pushing down like this, to get the paper underneath the nozzle. Really close.
Okay, we're good.
And then when you move it, that's why you can kind of like feel it moving around a little bit when you're dragging it. And then when you feel the paper dragging, then you'll move the blue plate over, and you'll do the same thing with this one and adjust this one a little bit to where you can move that one. And then you'll do the same thing on the one in the inside right here. So you'll move this over to here and then move this in the middle, and then you'll do the same test right here for this one too to be able to move it back and forth.
So if it's able to move back and forth, you tighten it.
If it's able to move back and forth, then you're perfect. Because you want it to be able to move, but you don't want it and you want to feel the tension on it, but you don't want it to be stuck in place, and you don't want it to move and you not feel anything on it at all. Okay. So if you can move it back and forth, it's perfect.
All right.
And it should be level. It should be good to go.
Yeah, it seems that it can move on that one. Now choose the...
Normally they don't come on level when we ship them. So then now, yeah, move the plate over and move it above this one. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Tighten the bolts too, but like, don't forget to do that.
Yeah, you might have to push the blue down on the blue plate, like squeeze it to fit it underneath there.
All right.
There you go. Now can you move the paper? Does the paper move?
No. No.
Okay. Well, then loosen that bolt on the bottom a tiny bit and then try to move the paper. And you'll know you're going the wrong way if the paper still doesn't move.
All right, can move a little bit.
That's perfect. Yeah, you want it to move a little bit and you feel it dragging. And that's exactly what you want it to be. So then now you can try the inside one.
It's good. The paper's good.
It tore.
That's okay.
There's people stuck up underneath the thing.
You can use the pliers or something to pull it out. You got pliers.
These little tweezers.
Yeah, that'll work.
Pick this up a little bit then. No, with this.
And then this, pick it up with this. Press this down, and then you're gonna pull the thing out.
Yeah, there you go.
Good if you go to the doctor's house.
Perfect.
Do we need to use a thicker paper? Like, because we're using like scratch notebook paper like that.
Yeah, that'll be fine. That's okay. Yeah, and then test the inside one. So there's the inside one right here too.
Oh, what's this plastic piece come from? Oh.
So the inside one, which is right here.
Yes.
Yeah, you can
That's the one that's kind of tough to get to.
Let's like push it down a little bit though, so you can slide that piece of paper in there.
And this is really 90% of different 3D printer problems, is making sure that the build plate is level. It's a huge part of it. So once you guys have that figured out, you'll be good to rock. And those are all 4 of the troubleshooting steps. So once you have those figured out, you'll be able to be cranking out prints in no time.
Sweet.
Does the paper move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Then pull the paper all the way out, and then go ahead and go back and print your Squirtle. You're good to go.
Do we need to auto home before we do that?
Nope, it'll automatically home before it prints Squirtle.
All right. Print from SD card.
Does it print all 150?
If you design all 150, it will.
Oh, boy, we're gonna do it for years out.
You gotta design them and put them on there.
It's starting.
It's doing the thing again.
That means that it's not able to go all the way back to 0. So there's stuff in the way. Do you see how it's pulled cords behind it? It's too close. Like the plate needs to be able to move back and forth without.
It's able to.
Oh, there it goes. It's going now. Yeah. Yeah, I'll shoot this off.
Yeah, because it can't get caught on anything. I see there's like a blue cord that's kind of stretched around, and it might have gotten caught on that.
No, it was completely.
Do you need this plugged up?
So does it look like it's laying the layers down? Does it look like it's sticking?
It's laying down now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Get a bit of it there and on the bleed.
You guys got it level then.
That's laying it now.
Yeah.
Like it drew it out on the paper and then it.
Yeah.
So
And if
awesome.
it's too close, it'll be digging into the tape. You'll know if it digs into the tape, then you need to have it a little bit farther away from it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. Make it later.
I need to actually.
Do we need to level it or what? Oh, yeah.
Going fast.
How many t-shirts do we have?
Yes,
All right. Do you guys have any more questions for me? For now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, enough
So if you guys need any help, go to our website and fill out the form there, and we'll help you out. So it's NWA3D.com/support.
Can you say that again real slowly?
Yeah, NWA3D.com if you want to write it down. /support.
Support?
Just /support, yeah, and you'll be able to find it. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, just stay with
Well, you guys have a good one. And let us know if you need any help. We're here to help you guys, okay? All right, you're welcome. Y'all have a good weekend. See ya. Go Hogs. Woo! Woo, big.